Bumper Ball Maze is all about speed and attempting to ride this ball down a narrow path all the way to the goal line in as fast a time as possible. Although you may never have played, or even have heard of this minigame, it's gone on to inspire some of the best Mario levels ever, including this one from Mario Galaxy. Hey, let's take these two game ideas, smash them together, strip away the third dimension, and see what happens. The problem with doing this is that things that are straightforward in 3 dimensions are almost impossible sometimes in 2 dimensions. I thought a good place to start would be recreating the game in 3D first, then once I have a feel for the mechanics, upgrade it by downgrading it to 2D. This didn't work because nothing ever works, because unfortunately this still requires me to be good enough to make anything in 3D, which I'm not. Using a free library called Dotune, I created a free character select screen, which is sort of more of just a rainbow simulator because I don't know how to actually make a skin for a 3D sphere. You either have to paint the damn thing in VR, no, or draw on a 2D images like this, which has like a million different sides and like wrap it around, and no, please. You wanna know how you can do that in 2D? Well, step 1 is draw a circle, and then step 2 is fill in the rest of the circle. It's that easy. You know why? It looks just right, because it's just a circle.
The third dimension?
Boring! More like the third dimension, because it's a complete pile of shit.
It's so boring, in fact, that when I tried to make the game in 3D, I just forgot everything I thought I knew about computing. Which is completely unlike me, obviously, because I am an extremely good programmer. So let's just embrace the failure for now and get to making the 2D version. Let's get the basic ball movement feeling just right. By applying a force to the ball depending on the direction of the input that the player is providing, we can very quickly get a 2D representation of the 3D sphericircle's movement. Now we have the ball rolling, we can move on to adding a maze for it to follow. This is great, until we go over the edge. I don't know what the correct way of doing this is, but the blank patented definitely not terrible way is using the horrible third dimension to cast a ray from the camera to the ball center at all times. If we ignore the ball itself, this ray is going to either hit the path or not the path, and typically I find that not the path isn't on the path, so we should kill the player and make them fall into the water. Oh, I didn't see that. I'm currently working on making the bumper maze a bit more bumpery, because in a minigame called Bumper Ball Maze, you would think there would be a bit more bumpers and balls, God forbid, maybe even a maze too. Luckily for me, the original game has a ball, so I can tick that one off, but it definitely doesn't have any bumpers. And come to think of it, this isn't much of a maze either. Last time I checked, a singular path that is extremely obvious where to go and shows you the entire thing right away isn't much of a maze in my book. Before adding this beautiful new maze to the project, let me first tell you about the bumpers. With this code here, we detect when we hit a bumper, and when we do, we activate it. Activating it pushes the ball away from the bumper by applying a force to it, and then adds some juicy animations to the bumper sprite, using 2 different easing curves to give a distinctive feel for going out and coming back in again. Bumper. Tick. That just leaves the maze. Here's one I prepared earlier.
Now this is a maze. We can throw the maze into Unity and use a Polygon Collider 2D to automatically create the collider to fit it. The only issue right now though is that the maze is pretty easy because you can only see one direction, so I'm pretty sure you just go up there and win. The camera needs to somehow follow the player. One super easy way to do this is to just parent the camera to the ball and make it follow around exactly, but this follows it all the time, even when you don't want it to. Instead, we can implement the focus area method. When the player is inside the red focus area, they can move around and maneuver slight movements without changing the camera at all, but as soon as they touch an edge and go slightly outside of it, it will push the box upwards, moving the camera. With a little makeover, the maze goes from looking like this to this. Fun fact actually, Procreate has a feature that literally scared me to death when I was trying to figure out how to export the image. I went to settings, canvas, reference, and face. Oh my god, what is this? Don't worry, there are also a few customization options for the ball that you can pick between at the start by simply rolling in whichever one that you want. To make sure this intense, life-changing decision isn't rushed by being on the clock, the timer only starts when you leave the safe zone, as indicated by the rocks around the start area. Once you cross this, the timer actually starts. This fantastic song that you're listening to right now was written by James Evans, worked with him before, amazing guy, so please go and check him out somewhere up down below. His website's in the description. And as the old adage goes, when is a maze not a maze? When it looks like this! Honestly, I couldn't get lost in there if an angry bee came and stung my eyes out. What the fuck?